What commandment had the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh kept? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Joshua on Walking Through the Bible. Today we're going to be discussing Joshua 22, verses 1 to 9, but before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Joshua 22, verse 1, but if you don't have a Bible, don't worry, just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Joshua 22, beginning at verse 1. Then Joshua called the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have kept all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I commanded you. You have not left your brethren these many days up to this day, but have kept the charge of the commandment of the Lord your God. And now the Lord your God has given rest to your brethren, as he promised them. Now therefore, return and go to your tents and to the land of your possession, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side of the Jordan. But take careful heed to do the commandment and the law which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. So Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their tents. Now to the half-tribe of Manasseh Moses had given a possession in Bashan, but to the other half of it Joshua gave a possession among their brethren on this side of the Jordan, westward. And indeed, when Joshua sent them away to their tents, he blessed them and spoke to them, saying, Return with much riches to your tents, with very much livestock, with silver, with gold, with bronze, with iron, and with very much clothing. Divide the spoil of your enemies with your brethren. So the children of Reuben, the children of Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh returned, and departed from the children of Israel at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan, to go to the country of Gilead, to the land of their possession, which they had obtained, according to the word of the Lord by the hand of Moses. We've spent the last 9 chapters looking at how the land of Canaan, and land east of the Jordan, was divided between the 12 tribes of Israel. Some of the land west of the Jordan was divided while Israel was camped at Gilgal, while the rest was divided while Israel was camped at Shiloh. Over 7 years have passed since Israel crossed the Jordan, fought the peoples of Canaan, and then completely divided the land. In all this time, the men of war sent by the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, who inherited land east of the Jordan, had been with Israel. Why? Because that was the condition placed on them by Moses for inheriting land east of the Jordan. We know this because Numbers 32, verses 20 to 27 says, Then Moses said to them, If you do this thing, if you arm yourselves before the Lord for the war, and all your armed men cross over the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land is subdued before the Lord, then afterward you may return and be blameless before the Lord and before Israel, and this land shall be your possession before the Lord. But if you do not do so, then take note, you have sinned against the Lord. Be sure your sin will find you out. Build cities for your little ones and folds for your sheep, and do what has proceeded out of your mouth. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Moses, saying, Your servants will do as my Lord commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our livestock will be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will cross over, every man armed for war, before the Lord to battle, just as my Lord says. Throughout their journey from Egypt to Canaan, Israel had constantly promised one thing and then done another. At Sinai, they heard the command to not make and worship idols. They said that they would obey this command, and later, when Moses was up on Mount Sinai, for what they considered too long, what did Israel do? They made an idol and worshipped it. When Moses gave this charge in Numbers 32 to these 2.5 tribes, it was not guaranteed that the people would obey once Moses was dead. But here in Joshua 22, we find that indeed these tribes did obey. They really wanted that land east of the Jordan for themselves, and so perhaps that was a motivator. Before telling these tribes that they have permission to return home, though, Joshua gives them a charge. Don't forget to obey the law of Moses, which taught them to love the Lord God, to walk in all his ways, to keep his commandments, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all their heart and with all their soul. Why would Joshua have to remind them of this? Because they were going to be living separate from their brethren, where they could easily forget to follow God, because after all, who's going to know? They were also going to be directly bordering the nations of Moab and Ammon, nations that could lead them off into idolatry. This was a useful charge to these tribes, and it's a useful one for us to remember as well. Do we only follow God when others are looking, or do we follow God always? Hopefully it is the latter, but sadly for many Christians, I'm afraid it's the former. When Joshua sent them away, he blessed them and gave them some of the bounty that was taken in the war with the Canaanites, for after all, they participated in that war too, so it was only fair that they also reap the rewards. We'll continue with this chapter, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Joshua 22, verses 10 to 20, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.